Welcome to another episode of the Terri and Frank Show. I hope you've been enjoying all of these people unproductive episodes, these crazy folks you run into in the workplace, who they are, how to spot them, how to deal with them. Well, today we're going to talk about the please don't bother me individual. We've all run into them. Last week we did the ticking time bomb. If you didn't see that good episode, I think you should tune in. So, Terry, let's talk about these crazy, please don't bother me people that you and I have both had to work with in the workplace.
Yeah. These are those folks that they just really have their own agenda. They're focused on what they want and nothing else. So anybody that comes in to distract away from what they've got planned out, what their agenda is, they really don't want to be bothered. They
Mhm.
don't care if you're coming to bring them money. They just want to keep going with their own agenda. They've got everything lined up the way that they think it ought to go, and they don't really want to hear anything else. They're always these super busy people that just
Yes,
never have time. I'm so busy, don't bother me. I'm do not disturb is always on their chat, or they just really close the door to their office. They're just trying to stay away from people because they're just so busy. And you get
yeah,
this really gruff expression when you go and try to talk to them, and they're kind of looking at you like, what do you want? Why are you here? And
that's
they're
right. That is one of their tactics is to make
yeah,
it so unpleasant to try to get help from them or an answer to a question, whatever it may be, that you just leave them alone. You don't want to be bothered because they're just so nasty.
yeah, yeah,
Right? And these people usually, they've usually worked themselves into some important role of some kind. They control a certain amount of knowledge, whatever the case may be. And, they literally just don't want to help people and they have that negative force field around them.
yeah. And it's, that person that gives you those looks. It's always the looks for me where it's just
Yeah.
like, oh my
Oh my God.
goodness. Like, why are you giving me the stink eye
Right.
every time I come to see you? Your face is all frowned up, or you're just kind of staring me down, like, go away.
Yep.
People feel that vibe. It's absolutely a vibe that comes from you when
Oh,
you're doing that to people. So stop it.
there was one guy years ago that I work with. And if you went to get answers to stuff, because we were working on building systems, and this guy had been around a very long time, knew everything. You'd have to sit down and chat about all sorts of stuff before he would get to what you wanted.
Yeah.
So he would, he loved the company. You were going to be his company. And you weren't getting any information till you spent whatever amount of time he wanted out of you in his office before he'd give it to you. And if you're busy, this guy was so annoying. You're trying to get stuff done, you have a deadline, and Bob wants to talk for 20 minutes about something, that
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
BS around about. Crazy.
Yeah.
Another type of personality, which is kind of, it's not don't bother me, but it's a guy who makes it very difficult to get information from.
Mm, yeah. Just a challenge. Want to
Yeah.
challenge every person that comes to them. They want to know details or information that have nothing to do with what you've asked them.
Yeah.
Start digging down paths that are just rabbit trails because they don't really want to give you the information. It kind of is like that information hoarder
Yeah.
that they want to keep all the knowledge to themselves. And I think the don't bother me person is kind of like that too. They just want to keep all the information, all the knowledge, all that tribal knowledge that they've learned from being there for so long. They
Yeah.
want to keep that information to themselves so they can maintain some level of seniority and, just kind of lord that over people to say, I know something that most people don't. So I'm valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and there are plenty around. There are companies where the culture is one that it's just uncooperative, right? We've seen those. It's okay to be uncooperative. The other one is where people are kept too busy. That famous Darlene Batson study, the
Mm,
Good Samaritan, where people who are super rushed or in a hurry didn't have time to stop and help somebody.
yeah.
And I think 60% of the unhurried people stop to help someone in this experiment they set up, and only 10% of the high hurry group. And that's work, when companies put so much work on people that they don't have a little time to help others, it does create a bit of an uncooperative workplace. So you could have a whole places don't bother me.
Yeah,
Those are even
yeah.
worse.
That's very true when you've got all these
Yeah.
deadlines and,
Mhm,
people are
mhm.
overworked, they've got too much responsibility. It just creates that environment where people are just every man for himself because I've got
Yep.
so much stuff. I don't have time to stop and help somebody else because I'm
Mhm.
so focused on all the things that I've got to get done. But
And then
working
in that mix, you always have some helpful people
Yeah, working
in spite
together
of it, right?
always makes it better. It always makes things go faster when you
Yeah,
can work together. You can decide priority because a lot of times those things that we're stressing about that we think need to get done are really not even the highest priority items. So
right.
you gotta have some people that
100%.
can come together and think about this from a strategic perspective to say, what's really important? What are we really trying to accomplish?
What are we
And what
trying to get done here? Yeah.
yeah, what are we trying to do? And then what are the things that we absolutely need to do today? Yes, the
Yeah.
to-do list is long, but what do I need to get done today? And then
Mhm.
what do I need to get done tomorrow and the next day? And you can kind of take a more strategic approach as opposed to just having people drink from the fire hydrant and, the loudest request wins. So whoever is screaming and yelling the loudest about their request, that's the one that gets worked on first because you don't want to deal with that person versus actually prioritizing the work and really coming together to
Mhm.
decide what makes sense to do now.
Absolutely. Yeah. The pace of work, these things helping behaviors, are so important in the workplace because they greatly enhance the speed of work. People who need help, when they get it, they're able to actually move along and get more things done. So the please don't bother me crowd actually really in the way of building an effective workplace. That's why they're people unproductive. They end up slowing down the speed of work. They just do.
Yeah. Yeah. Things really get slower and slower when you have these obstacles that are self-imposed, right? So it's not an obstacle that just kind of happen. Things happen in the workplace. Things happen with suppliers or
Mhm.
with software where it's just some kind of organic problem that happened. But then you've got this other set of problems that we don't even have to have this problem.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
creating problems all that don't even have to exist. So we expend all this energy fighting fires that somebody started.
Yeah.
That really, if we could have just had a healthier work environment, we wouldn't even have this fire to fight. Let's save our strength for the real fires, where
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
things that are
Absolutely.
outside of our control that had just happened. And then now we are able to come together as a team
Mhm.
and focus on those things versus all of these self-inflicted wounds that we're receiving.
Yeah. Listen, there's no question, workplaces that have great cultures have far fewer issues. They just do. And you can feel it when you're in a great culture, you know it. When you've built a great culture, the number of issues occurring goes way down. There's more open conversation about stuff. Things are prevented rather than the breakage happening. Makes a
Yeah,
huge difference.
yeah,
I did find with the please don't bother me people, when what you could establish some rapport with them and you could be thankful when they did help you. I
yeah,
used to bring one person, I go down and, I used to get them a cup of coffee.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm running out to get a cup of coffee. You want anything? Sure. And so, a couple times a week, I'd be going getting coffee. This person was very important. I needed, information for this thing we're doing. And it's much more cooperative,
yeah,
after I was a little grateful and thanked them for their time, right?
yeah. And I think too, you can let the person know in advance, hey, this is only going to take 5 minutes. I
Mhm.
need about 5 minutes of your time. Is this a good time? And
Yes, that's a polite
usually,
way to handle it. Mhm.
people will let you know if, I'm in the middle of something, but can I come back and see you in 10 minutes or 15
Mhm.
minutes or however long? But try to set some boundaries around, I need your help and it's not okay for you to not give me what I need. That's just not acceptable. So let's come to agreement and come to some terms on when you are available to give me what I need.
Yeah,
So that makes
that's a
them
great
feel a
tip
little bit more
actually about negotiating with the please don't bother me person.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's
And
a very reasonable request. And,
right,
they do know that they have answers to certain things. And,
right.
at the end of the day, they need to help. And once again, like we always say, when they're really people unproductive, get them out of there eventually,
Absolutely.
right? Get other people trained with that knowledge and information, don't let these people control all that so they can get away with the please don't bother me, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's really crazy because, when we start to work together more cohesively, it just really makes everybody's load lighter because now I'm
Yeah.
not having to dig into things that it's not my area of expertise. I can stay in my lane and everybody else can stay in their lane. And now together we bring each of
Mhm.
our pieces to the puzzle together. And
Yeah,
now we're able to function much more
big
collaboratively,
time.
much, much more functionally when we're able to each have our specialty. But if I've got to learn my part and your part, my neighbor's part, and that's just
Yeah.
too much. It ends up being too much on any one person, and so end up being an expert at a few things, with just very little knowledge. Not even an expert, I should
Mhm.
say. Really, you just kind of know a little bit about a lot instead
Yeah,
of a lot about a little,
that's
which
right.
really helps when you can kind of narrow in what your focus is and have a specialty on the team. And that's not to say that it's not good to know a little bit about a lot, but you really do need to have a focus, an area of expertise that really bring that to the table. And then each person can bring their area of expertise to the table so that
Mhm.
now, together as a team and as a whole, we're able to do even more.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a long talk on organizational and role design, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Without a doubt, because those enabling factors go a long way towards building a super productive
Right.
workplace.
Right.
And people
Absolutely.
forget about human enablement. They don't really dig into that very much.
Yeah. You've got to have the right tools. You've got to have the right knowledge and skill sets. All of that is very important. So these people that are don't bother me's, they really are. They're hindering the progress of the team.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They're just no fun either. Let's face it.
Right.
But anyway, I think we covered it pretty well. I
I
mean, I
think
think you
so
can
too.
negotiate with these people. You can get their time. There are better ways to work with them. Be thankful, be grateful,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Be
Offer an
cooperative.
olive branch. Yeah.
Don't be a don't help, don't bother me person.
Right. That's right. Stop giving people the stink eye.
Yeah. Anything else, Tara, before we wrap up?
I think that's it. I think that's it. So next week,
Got it.
what are we doing?
Yeah, what did we plan for next week? We should bring that up. You're absolutely right.
Yes. What did we decide? I thought we decided something.
Yeah, we had talked about something. What was that? Isn't that funny?
That is hilarious. So maybe both of us are showing our age now.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So, it was the negative coworker.
Oh,
That's what
right. Negative coworker.
negative coworker.
Right. The one who brings the, fog and the dark clouds with them everywhere. Yeah,
Right.
that's a good one.
Yeah. What was that character from Snoopy? The one that had the little cloud over their head the whole time. It's raining all the
Yeah.
time. That is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well, that is the person.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. Without a doubt.
So we will
Is
see
that
you guys next.
Pigpen or something? What was the name of that character?
I think it was Pigpen,
Pigpen, right?
like
Yeah.
a cloud of dust. I
Yeah.
don't know. He might have just been the little stinky guy he was always dirty.
Yep. Always
And a
dirty.
cloud of dust.
Absolutely. Great character, though. I love those Charlie Brown characters. They were
Yes.
fun.
So much fun.
All right, so tune in next week. We'll talk about the negative coworker.
Yes.
Woe is me. Ugh, horrible.
Yes.
Until then, have fun, enjoy yourself. Take care. Take care,
All right.
Ted.
Bye-bye.
Everybody, bye.